Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Nature City Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Pradelli, and I'm also the CEO and co-founder of Nature City, having started the company over 20 years ago with my wife, Beth, and since then it's been our privilege to have served over 500,000 Americans by offering them the best supplements we can make. Today, we're going to be talking about why blood sugar swings, in particular wild blood sugar swings, can lead to weight gain or make our weight management goals more challenging. We're at the time of the year where people are focused on how they look and their body composition and maybe trying to lose some excess pounds. So hopefully this will be helpful to you. So when we eat meals with a lot of carbohydrates like starch and sugar, it can cause a steep rise in your blood sugar level, and your body has to go to work to get that excess glucose out of your bloodstream and bring the blood sugar level back to normal. Sounds simple enough, but this severe swing in blood sugar levels can make your weight management and your diet goals more challenging, whether you're looking just to lose weight or just stay where you are. So today we're going to go over 2 reasons why this happens. And at the end, I'll give you a couple of ways to help you minimize these swings. Of course, any sensible eating plan will involve limiting these carbs, but some extra help to blunt these blood sugar spikes is still valuable to healthy aging and weight management over time. So let's start with the 2 things that happen after you eat foods or drink beverages with a good amount of sugar or starchy carbohydrates. The digestion process of these carbs starts really quickly. Really starts in the mouth where saliva releases a digestive enzyme like amylase, which breaks these carbs into single sugar molecules, a lot of which is glucose. Glucose has an important role in providing energy for different body functions like our brains, but like anything, like almost anything else, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So let's quickly review an example of this. Simple sugar is called sucrose, and it's essentially 2 sugar molecules that are bound together. One molecule is glucose and the other is fructose. The digestive enzymes come along and cut these bonds. Again, this typically starts in the mouth, but also continues in the stomach and the intestines. And after the bond is cut, you're left with a single glucose molecule and a single fructose molecule. Now, the fructose gets metabolized in the liver, so that doesn't affect blood sugar readings, but the glucose enters the bloodstream and will, by definition, cause blood sugar levels to start rising. Similar effect when we eat starch, right? Many starches are essentially strings of glucose molecules. The digestive enzymes start cutting these strings, starts cutting the string till all you really have is all these single glucose molecules, which can be absorbed through the intestines and enter the bloodstream. And this too spikes your blood sugar levels. Now, of course, the amount of sugar and starch that you consume at a meal will determine the severity of the spike. If you eat foods with a lot of both sugar and starch together, say a donut or a cookie, you're going to have a more rapid increase in your blood sugar level as you're consuming and after you eat that meal. Now, if you wash that down with a sugary soda, then of course you're really now creating a lot of work for your body as it needs to get all that extra glucose out of the bloodstream. So how do these large blood sugar spikes make weight loss or weight management more challenging? Well, your body responds to the blood sugar spike by secreting insulin, which is made in the pancreas. This helps escort the glucose sugar, out of the bloodstream into cells where it can be used for energy. This process is a good thing and necessary for you to survive. However, when you secrete insulin, it sends a message to your cells to stop or slow down the burning of fat, which is the body's stored energy. Insulin is essentially saying, hey, I'm bringing a fresh supply of energy in the form of glucose, so stop using our stored energy, which is fat. We may need that at some other time. So the more insulin your body releases, the less fat you're likely to burn, which over time can lead to weight gain or make it harder to lose weight. That is the first reason why we want to minimize the severity of those blood sugar spikes after we eat. You want to minimize the insulin release so our bodies don't stop burning fat for energy. This is essentially what those following a keto diet are trying to achieve, right? They're doing it in a little more severe way. They're severely limiting, the amount of glucose intake to keep their bodies in what's called ketosis, which is basically the metabolic state where the body is using fat for energy. Now, there's differing opinions on how long you should be on these diets and long-term consequences. That's not a topic for today. I just wanted to point out it's a similar concept they're utilizing in terms of trying to minimize the blood sugar spike. The second way rapid blood sugar spikes can make your weight management goals more challenging is the release of the extra insulin may actually cause your blood sugar level to drop too low, right? Or drop below normal. And before you know it, you're snacking again because you're hungry and craving food. This leads to extra calorie intake, and often this leads to making some really bad food choices because, we're in a hurry, we're hungry, and it's between meals. We don't have anything good available to eat. So we compound the problem. Right? We consume extra calories, and sometimes, it means extra carbs, which kind of just starts this kind of vicious cycle all over again. So these are two reasons why, to keep your weight at a healthy level and body fat at desirable levels, it's important to minimize the wild up and down swings in blood sugar and keep the insulin at healthy levels. So as I promised at the outset, 2 ways to help support you in this goal. First, in terms of supplements, we have our True Gluco SP, which can be a big, big help. True Gluco SP contains 2 brown seaweed extracts. They're called In-C2. So it comes from the sea, SEA. I think the sea from Nova Scotia, Canada, if I recall correctly. And there are 2 of them. So In-C2. So In-C2 was specifically designed to help slow down the breakdown of starch and sugar into glucose. This helps smooth out the post-meal blood sugar spike. You can think of In-C2 as acting like a traffic cop, right? So it helps slow down the rate that glucose from starch and sugar enters the bloodstream so your body doesn't get overwhelmed at once. And that blood sugar spike, instead of looking like this or like this, may look more like this, right? So it's much healthier, when the rate of glucose going to the blood, much healthier, easier, for your glycemic health, and less insulin needs to be expended to get the glucose out of your bloodstream and into cells and tissues for a purpose of using it for energy. Now, the effects of In-C2 was shown in one study. There's been 8 studies in total, but there's one study where the blood sugar spike after eating starchy white bread was reduced by about 48% on average when participants took In-C2 before a meal versus when they did. Okay, so by taking the In-C2 beforehand, the spike in blood sugar was reduced by about 48% compared to when they just ate the white bread without taking the In-C2. So that's a meaningful difference. And this over time can really not only benefit your blood sugar health, but also weight management goals. And it works, and In-C2 works really well when combined with chromium, which is also in True Gluco SP. Over 6 months in a study, the combination of In-C2 and chromium not only helped glycemic and blood sugar health, but also helped users lose some excess weight. And a nice benefit of chromium is that it helps concentrate more of the weight loss in fat loss as opposed to muscle loss, fat loss being preferred. True Gluco SP, besides the In-C2 and chromium, also has a novel source of berberine for extra support. So please check out, if you're interested, True Gluco SP at naturecity.com. The second tip to help reduce the severity of post-meal blood sugar spikes is to include a good amount of fiber in the meal, as this also helps blunt the blood sugar spike and helps, reduce the severity of that curve essentially. And also other weight management benefits also come along with fiber, like helping increase, satiety, which is essentially, the feelings of fullness you have, as well as, just the prebiotic effects of fiber, which help intestinal health. and help our metabolism over time. So if you want some supplement help from fiber, you can try our Alacran product. Okay, it has 5 grams of a soluble dietary fiber that has specifically been shown to help reduce the post-meal blood sugar spike when you take it with a meal. And Alacran, like True Gluco SP, you can also find at naturecity.com. So that's it for this week's episode. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to see future episodes or listen to the podcast on your favorite streaming service. We're on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast. You can also go to naturecity.com, sign up for our email list. You'll be alerted each week when there's a new podcast that drops, so you can keep up on the latest and greatest in supplement ingredients and overall wellness. So I'm Carl Pradelli, and that's it for this week's episode, and I will see you next week.